Well, I like to say that Israel doesn't have anything bubbling out of the ground, so it bubbles out between their ears. And we have lots of examples of that here today. My example has a little more relevance because I'm not so big a fan of what bubbles out of the ground. So I'm a big fan of these guys. Faith Degree and my company, Community Assets Consulting, have been in this space for over 15 years, helping companies from Israel to come here and do business. Over $4 billion in contracts, hard contracts with U.S., California companies. This is a wonderful field. Solar used to be, one of those things we just thought about. Now it's mainstream. Some of the clean tech companies we're going to talk about here are really the top companies, not just in Israel, not just in the U.S., but in the world. So here we have two shiny examples. I'd also like to give a shout out to Consul General David Siegel. David and his office have been instrumental in helping clean tech companies come here. Clean tech companies will soon have even more incentive and more assistance, so when they come here they can really get some good work done. We can help with jobs in Israel. We get their technology. What better combination is that? We have a short time here, but we have the best in the business here. Yosef, and I won't go through their whole bio. You have a book, you can read that. But I'll tell you, I learned a little bit, and I've been following these guys. But if you haven't seen the bio, the one thing I'll point out is I don't know how many people in this room has been nominated for 3 or 4 Nobel Peace Prizes. That's this man right here. So I think that lends itself to be here on this podium. Astorre, I found very interesting, has quite an interesting history, which he probably wouldn't get into, so I'll get into it for you. He was one of the original first 5 or so families from Italy, in Italy, to come from Spain, correct? Some of the first Jews.
From Israel, actually.
From Israel, excuse me. These two not only are doing incredible things in Israel and in the U.S., but really, and they're going to touch upon this, around the world. Their impact is felt around the world. So with that, we're going to start with Yosef, and I think we have a little clip.
First of all, it's an honor on behalf of my partners, Ed Hoffman from Terra and David Rosenblatt from New York, to finally be here. Thank you very much, Sharona. Look, we see ourselves as a people with purpose, and I also don't like that dark stuff that comes up from the ground. And we've already hit 400 parts per million carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and someone has to do something about it. We want to kill diesel for energy generation worldwide. 9% of the world's electricity is produced by diesel. We started in Israel. We perfected the business model. We've raised $300 million to date just for the first company in Israel. And the idea is really to go to developing countries worldwide, and we have the poorest people on the planet paying the highest electricity and contributing to global warming, that we want them to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So now we're building worldwide. This chart just can show you that the PV market globally is rising very, 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 very quickly, and the fastest growth are in those countries that most developers wouldn't go into. But we learned how to do it in Israel. We took the risk out, and we see an enormous opportunity for profits worldwide.
That's fantastic. Now, the story, we also have some visuals for us, but where Yosef is doing it, Astorre is funding it, and funding some innovative and amazing companies. Tell us a little bit about those companies, about what you're doing, and I think we wanted to cue something up as well.
So anyhow, I'll start. We are a venture fund. We focused on very, very promising and innovative early-stage companies in Israel. Israel is, apart from being a place with a lot of sun, has been also at the forefront of a lot of great innovation, both in water and in solar. Water for obvious reasons. We have a great lack of water in Israel. And solar, a company called Luz actually started the whole solar thermal in about 20 years ago. This was actually, when they did this 350 megawatt, was actually 99% of the market share in the world of solar, and now we are in an industry of $50 billion. But let's go into the presentation. Yeah. So we are an early stage fund. We invest very early stage through an incubator funded by the State of Israel up through the exit of the company. We have a great team. We have about 80 years experience in early stage investing, nurturing company with 2 PhDs and a very good amount of people. Sorry, the presentations are working very well. Oops. Okay. Sorry about this. Technology is not very helping us.
This was not Israeli technology, by the way, just so you all know.
It's on my technology. Okay. Oops. Go back. Completely going the other way. Okay, I'm just going the other way. Okay. So what is clean tech? What do we invest in? We invest in renewable energy efficiency, water technologies, environmental technologies. So a lot of the stuff that Israel is very good at. The State of Israel actually is helping us a lot in this process. We just won last year a very competitive bid with about 15 players to run an incubator in Israel. We're setting up an incubator in Yokneam. And for each $100,000 that we put in an early stage company, the government will give us $600,000. We get all the upside, between 30 to 50% of the company. The rest stays with the entrepreneur, and the state just gets a 3-4% royalty stake from the sales of the company. So this is a great way of really attracting some of the top people to invest in Israel. Apart from us, companies like Nielsen, Albit, Hutchinson won this bid. And I really want to thank the State of Israel for bringing such great companies into Israel and, of course, helping us in reducing our risk in the early stage. Just on clean tech, we started, 5 years ago. We did a mapping. We found about 200 deals in Israel in the field. Now we have a database of 1,200 deals just in clean tech, energy and water. We have about 1 to 2 new deals a day that come to us just in the field. And this is the famous 6,000 startups. So about 1,000 are in our field. We have a great relationship with GE, Veolia, Enel. These are some of the big corporates working on worldwide in the field. And why do we invest in clean tech? Well, I mentioned a few reasons. But this is actually a great slide from the clean tech group that puts Israel as the first in clean tech innovation worldwide. And this is I'll start. I just want to mention a few companies in our portfolio. Just to show you, we have a very nice portfolio of 9 companies. The first one is Phoebus Energy. They save between 50 to 70% of cost of hot water in big hotels, hospitals, etc. We have more than 70 projects, including Ichilov Hospital, Ramada in Jerusalem, and the Fatal chain. And by the way, we reduced by about 90% the pollution where the people actually stay, and overall about 40 to 50% the pollution in general. So this is a great company. This is actually an interesting company because if someone just won a PowerMat step, this company is actually doing a completely wireless charging approach, not just with a PowerMat, but fully wireless. You put a transmitter on the ceiling, it sends a beam completely safely to your laptop, cell phone, and tablet, and you get charged without even noticing it completely safely. So this is a great. Hopefully, in the next year or two, you'll see the technology, and we'll give a present to the next conference. SmartUp is a great company for water saving. It's a very smart thing. You go into the shower, you press a button. I want 38 degrees, 12 liters per minute. The system actually recycles the water, so you don't waste the usual half a minute of water you waste during the shower, and then you get exactly what you ask for, the right temperature and the right thing. So these are the things that we do. We have now a new fund with an incubator, so we're planning to do another 20 deals in this field, and we hope to bring you a lot of innovation here in the States. Thank you.
So we have a lot of folks in the room that are doing deals or looking for deals or are excited about deals. What do you think is coming around the corner, both for Arava? What is the next thing that my friend Larry or someone else in the crowd should fund, and for you as well? But we'll start with Arava.
So When we started out, I couldn't raise a penny in Israel. Everyone was skeptical. You naive American kibbutznik, you're thinking to beat back the Israeli bureaucracy. So we did 4 friends and family rounds in the States. And then Siemens, of course, came in and bought 40% of the company. And as I mentioned, we've raised $300 million to date, and we're going to top off at about $1.2 billion in the next bunch of years. So our investors and our friends and family are very happy. Arava is actually fully financed. Unless someone wants to give us some money, we'll make a bid together for the remains of a better place, because we can give them clean energy. I'm open to that kind of crazy idea. For us, Israel is a limited market, just like you hear with apps and everything else. There's 1.6 billion people on the planet without electricity, and another billion that are using expensive and dirty diesel. So we're in that climb right now. We self-financed up to $5 million, the first stage of Energia Global to build in developing countries. We are about to do another small friends and family round, because we should be cash flow positive by next year. But if you're an Israeli company and you supply water, food, or energy, and you have a good track record on your business plan and execution, then it's really unlimited. So we're always looking for partners, because we're in a cash-intensive business.
That's wonderful. Think about some questions, folks, because I think we have some time. I could throw it out to you in a minute, but we have talked a lot about energy, and energy's hot. I like energy. Last I looked upstairs, I don't think he's going to raise the price of the sun, and I know business likes a little bit of consistency. But water that you touched upon, other forms of clean tech, what else is out there, and what are you looking for with this new incubator? What are we going to look forward to tomorrow to invest in?
In general, in our model, we try to be extremely capital efficient. And some of you guys probably have heard of some of the companies in the state that haven't succeeded, mostly because they were extremely capital intensive. Our model is really to go into the most capital efficient companies. Israelis are very good at doing some things very, very capital efficiently, and also doing algorithms, improving processes. So we're really focusing on, for example, energy efficiency, resource efficiency, water efficiency. This is really where you can play with just relatively small amounts of money, make an impact, go to market in a year instead of in a 5-year time frame, and really start making money almost from day one. That's really what we are focusing on. We're focusing also on the whole world of clean web, which basically is the connection between software and energy and water. We believe it's a great place to be in, and we've funded already a few companies in the field. So I would say, in general, the name of the game is capital efficiency, and you have a few ways of playing it in this world.
I think we have time for one more out there. If we have somebody else, we have in the back, the good-looking gentleman at that corner table.
Hey, Yosef, could you tell us about the feed-in tariff in Israel? What's going on?
So the way this becomes profitable, and the way that we were able to raise so much money, is because we get what's called a bankable power purchase agreement for 20 years linked to inflation. So it's a government bond, except when you buy an Israel bond, you get 3.5%. When you put money into our fields, you get 10 to 12%, depending on the field. When the industry started, the feed-in tariff, what we get paid per kilowatt hour, started out very high. There were a lot of risks. The technology costs were high. So when I first started the business plan, it was $8 million per megawatt installed. When we built the first field that you saw, it was $4.8 million per megawatt installed. And now it's like $2 million per megawatt installed. So they've been killing the price that we've been getting as the cost of technology goes down. So my first field was a shekel and a half, give it 40 cents, something like that, per kilowatt hour. The one we just did an $80 million financial close on, we're getting 62 agorot for 20 years linked to inflation. And we're in our final battle, actually on Tuesday in the Knesset next week, about what is grid parity. What is the cost for producing a solar kilowatt hour, and let's say one that's combination gas and others. We're hoping that comes in 56 agorot. They're threatening 50 agorot. It sounds like a minor battle, but it's whether or not we can scale and give Israel energy independence through renewables. So they've been too aggressive in dropping the price. We do want the price to drop. But again, once you lock it up, 20 years linked to inflation, government guarantee. And so if there's capital out there that is not so greedy but wants steady returns, the solar industry is actually phenomenal place to park your money.
And we just had a feed in Terra start here in LA, right here locally. So
How much?
I expect you to get your rear end over here,
Oh,
and
we're
we'll
always
talk
looking
about
for
this
partners.
afterward.
Okay.
We have a little money for you. We'll start a whole little Arava here in Los Angeles, which will make Sharona happy. You know, she likes to know that there's folks here and there. Do we have one more quick one out there? And if not, I think I'm going to. There you go, sir.
I'm just curious with the news about some of the changes with the battery company, with the group that has spent 5 years looking to put the batteries, to switch out batteries in the cars throughout Israel. It's like that company is going out of business. You can say it's bad management. You can say they're early to market. But what's the take on protecting each other to some sort of interdisciplinary or inter-area protection so that everybody moves forward where there's a national interest above an economic interest?
A phenomenal question. A national interest versus an economic, just a narrow interest. We had always believed, because we started the same time, Arava, as Shai Agassi started Better Place. And from day one, I was like, oh my God, Israel could be the first country that can be carbon neutral, because 2/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions are power plants. All right, I'll take those out. 1/3 is transportation. Shai, you take that out. And when you plug your car in, plug it into the greenest grid rather than the dirtiest grid in the country. The issue of their business model is that all their costs were up front. In other words, I've essentially raised commitments for about the same amount that Better Place did, but I only trigger that once I have my customer. Once I have all the permissions and the electric company, locked in, and then it triggers the big money. They had to spend an incredible amount of money up front without having the customer. So it's a different business model. I really think Israel is ripe for this. Someone has to pick this up. We cannot let the concept die. But if we're going to do it, let's make sure that these cars don't just transfer pollution to Ashkelon and Ashdod, but they run off the plentiful sun that we have.
Story, any thoughts?
Yes, I think again, it's Israel can bring a lot to the world. We have the whole Tuesday session talking about technology, and I think we should do the same also in this case. I think Better Place was an amazing, venture, but I think we can use even a third of that money to fund a lot of very interesting clean tech companies and bring what we have, these amazing brains, technology, startups that we have here into the world, change the world through actually what we're good at, which is, innovating. That's what I think we should do.
And I wouldn't focus too much on, though we all, the newspapers and all these sources of information love to give us the bad news. Tesla, another teeny little car company, just paid back, I think 9 years early, their loans from the government. Of course, that didn't get a whole lot of play. But there are amazing things happening in this space all the time. So I urge you, just don't think about entertainment and gaming and other things. Think about clean tech. There's some wonderful returns. We have wonderful options out there. And if you want to go to WATEC that the Consul General talked about, we have a trip in November. With lots of our political leaders and business leaders and venture capitalists, environmental leaders, and we'd love to have you join us. But thank our panelists here for coming, and please talk to them out in the hallways as well. And I'll kick it off to Sharona.
Right, thank you. It's very exciting to have energy represented